diversity of the results are very wide, and I think that's very difficult to have some consensus. I will give you some figures, not too many, but to give you an idea about the diversity in the answers. For instance, 54 of our replies have officially a program in translation studies. 54 only. The rest is in linguistics or literature or comparative literature and so on. Number two, which is I think very important, 40% of the programs we are surveying, the dissertation has to be finished within 4 years, 3 or 4 years. Otherwise, it's quite free. It can go until 8 years or whatever. But I mean, it means there's very vague things. About the number of pages, for instance, in the dissertation, it goes from 120, very precisely, in one university in a Baltic country, to more than 600 pages. So you can, it means expectation from the students are very, very different. And about the fees, we could figure out 4 fees clusters, free to 600 euro, and then 600, 1,500, and then 2,000, 4,000 euro per year. And then the last group, beyond 4,000 until 8,000 euro per year.
Cheap.
Yes. And that's very surprising, but it means the students have to select where they want to go and where they want to pay.
Where are the expensive places?
I will not tell you, because then I go into details, and that's it's more than 20 minutes, and the chief will tell me, stop it. Some kind of problems. I would like to talk about very important things which have been discussed for some time in Vienna. Number one, the link between MA programs and PhD programs. Of course, in most of the cases, you need an MA degree, but not necessarily in translation. It could be in linguistics or whatever. It means a lot of students start their PhD studies in translation without any experience in translation or without any glue on translation studies. Of course, that makes a big difference. And of course, the way you organize your program is different. And another problem which was discussed for quite a long time, and I was surprised, but in a way it's not surprising, language requirement. In many universities, you have to register in the home language, let's say like that. If you can say anything, I will not say the national language, but the home language. And then you have to write the dissertation in the same language. Meanwhile, you have to publish, in some cases, at least 3 referees articles in English. And of course, the students are complaining, why should I write my thesis in Slovak when you are asking me to write 3 articles in English and I don't get any training in English writing? Okay? What else? When there are courses organized within the PhD program, they are not clearly defined in terms of objectives, in terms of learning outputs, and in terms of content. And the number of ECTS, the credit system, European credit system as you know it, is very, very different from one program to another program. For one PhD program, the requirement was 60 ECTS. To some other programs, it's 240. One university uses also ECTS, but don't care about the definition and what it implies for the work of the students. And I think this is very strange, because ECTS has been trying to harmonize university in Europe, and then some people are using it for their own sake. So too much diversity in the program, in the requirements, and diversity in that case means also divergence in the expectation from the students. Maybe we could talk about incoherence between the different PhD programs. Anyway, if there are so strong differences, how can we cooperate? And that was the question, of course. And surprisingly also, there were any e-learning or distance teaching used for the PhD program. I was surprised. I was expecting, and we tried to discuss about that, but most of the people in the room were against. And that, because it was also...
But we have e-learning.
Yeah, I did not say it did not exist, but in most cases people were against and tried to avoid it. So what kind of questions we have to raise after this work? What could be the required background of the PhD candidates? And I think this is a very important thing. MA degree is not enough if we don't know what kind of discipline they have been studying before. And then another question which was very heavily discussed and very interesting discussion, do we need to specialize PhD programs? And we have one student who presents something very interesting about a PhD in legal translation. But then, of course, the risk is that, especially if the people have not done MA program before in translation, that they will be hyper-specialized, not knowing anything else from translation studies. And the risk is that there will be fragmentation in our field, and I don't think we should run for that. But there were some interesting arguments in favor, so maybe this has to be discussed more in detail later on.